Hey guys, today's lesson will be on solving equations where there are now variables on both sides of the equation. And a couple of things I want to, clarify is in vocabulary, when we talk about combining like terms and when we talk about collecting like terms, they are very, very similar. Usually when we talk about combining like terms, we talk about one side of an equation. Collecting means collecting everything on one side or the other. So, but both of these I abbreviate often as CLT, and you'll see that in a lot of my videos and in our PowerPoints. Okay, and like I said, since we're going to deal with variables on both sides of the equation, what you have to do is pick your side. When I say pick your side, it doesn't matter which side you pick, but you're going to collect all your variable terms on one side and all your constant terms on the other. So that's kind of our whole chore, is to put everything, all our variable terms, those terms that have variables, on one side, and our constant terms on the other side of an equation. Okay. So our first equation here, 7x equals 4x plus 15. Okay, so what we're going to do is pick our sides. Okay, so I have two sides. I'm going to put my variable terms on this side and my constant terms on the right side here. Now again, it doesn't matter, I could have picked either way, but let me just give you a little hint. I always look at the coefficient of the variables, and whatever the larger coefficient, in this case 7 of course is larger than 4, that's the side I pick as my variable side. The reason I do that is I avoid getting negative coefficients by doing that. As soon as you pick your side, now I want to get the variable term off the constant side. Okay, so I'm going to subtract 4x from this side, but if I subtract 4x from this side, I of course subtract it from this side. These are like terms, so we collected all the x's on this side by combining like terms. So that's the CLT. We both collect and combine like terms. This 15 just goes along for the ride. Now I have just a variable term on this side, a constant term on this side. Now I'm ready to solve, which of course just means dividing both sides by 3. We have x equals 5. Okay. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is try this one on your own, and then I'll come back in and do the work for you. Okay, go. Okay. Here, notice I do have variables on both sides. I'm going to pick my sides because this coefficient is larger than this coefficient. I'm going to pick my variable terms on this side, my constants on this side. I need to get him off this right side because this is meant for constants, so I'm going to subtract 3x from this side. If I do it from this side, of course do it from this side. These just go along for the ride. But now notice I have a constant on the variable side. Okay, so I'm going to add 2 to get rid of this, because negative 2 and a positive 2 will give me 0. Add 2 to this side. If I do it here, I of course have to do it here. Our last step, of course, is to get x alone. I divide by 2. Okay. Why don't you guys try this one? Okay. Again, I'm going to be picking my sides here, and I see that 9 is larger than 5, so I'm going to collect my variables on the left side and my constants on the right. I always go about moving my variables first off the constant side, so I'm going to get rid of this 5n by subtracting 5n. Of course, that will sum to 0. But if I do it to this side, I of course do it to this side. Now I want to get rid of my constant from my variable side. Okay, so I add 6 to both sides. Negative 6 and a positive 6 gets rid of the variable. On this side I have a variable term, this side I have a constant, exactly like I want. Now I can solve for him. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and give this one a shot? Okay, now notice now I have multiple terms. I have more than just 2. So the first thing I always think about is I want to clean up one side or the other. So I notice I have like terms here, so I can clean this up, 6y and a negative 3y. I like to clean up one side at a time. And notice on the right side I can combine the negative 5 and the positive 17. So I'm going to combine like terms on each side to simplify the expression on each side. Once I get it down to here, Now I'm going to pick my side. I'm going to pick this side as my variable side because 3 is larger than 1. Subtract y from both sides. So I got rid of the variable term off the constant side. Now I want to get the constant off the variable side. So I subtract 4 from both sides. Divide by 2 gives me my answer of y equals 4.